I'm with Mr. Rajesh Nath, who's the Managing Director of VDMA. Rajesh, pleasure to meet you.
Thank you, Rahul.
Thank you very much for your time.
My pleasure to be here. Yeah.
So let's talk a little bit about VDMA.
Right.
Obviously, being an industry body, your role is a little different because not being a commercial entity.
Right.
However, you do get very closely involved with exhibitions because it helps the overall environment and the ecosystem.
Right.
So talk to me a little bit about how VDMA helps and assists in that process.
Very good question, Rahul. Actually, as VDMA, we are the Association of the German Machinery and Plant Manufacturers. In fact, VDMA is the largest industrial association, and one of our very strong divisions is the construction equipment, building material machinery. And that's why, in fact, VDMA has been a close partner to Messe Munich. We've been partners also at the mother show, I would call,
In
the
Munich,
bauma
yes.
in Munich.
Yes.
And also when they started the show here, bauma CONEXPO in India,
Right.
we've been closely involved with that. For us, Rahul, it's also a very good platform for the German companies actually to showcase their technology.
Yes.
And since exhibitions are the meeting point for the industry,
Right.
I think it's really a win-win situation both ways.
Yes.
The companies can showcase their technology. The visitors coming to the exhibition see what is the best technology on offer.
Right.
And they can also connect then with the suppliers actually or the machinery manufacturer.
So in that, there are always opportunities, that's one thing, but that's a business opportunity. But does it also help, particularly from an industry body point of view,
Right.
identify market gaps? That's one aspect. The second thing is encouraging or working with commercial enterprises in innovation.
Right.
Does that actually figure in your overall strategy?
Absolutely. In fact, Rahul, the German companies,
Yeah.
the VDMA members, their spending on R&D is almost to the tune of 10% of their revenue is spent on R&D, which is way higher than the global average.
Correct.
The global average is only about 3.5%,
Right, yeah.
whereas the German VDMA members are actually spending up to 10%.
That's approaching pharma industry levels.
Yes,
Yeah?
and this is where actually I would say the German or the European technology has that cutting edge.
Right.
Because of the spending in R&D, they are
Yeah.
evolving themselves. It's not a machine, the same machine is offered each time, but there are new additions coming to on the machine.
Yeah.
And I think that is where it is also helping the Indian industry.
Yeah.
Because people who are using these machines, one is the safety factor, high productivity,
Yes.
that is there. And also if you are using it for making any products, it is giving you high quality output.
Right.
Be it even for cement, actually, you're getting high quality products out of that.
Right.
So I think that is where the importance of such shows is there, that it helps to connect both the industries, the German players as well as the Indian companies.
Right.
And also once they start using the machines, they see the value or the benefits of these machines.
So what's the main goal for VDMA at bauma CONEXPO here in Noida?
Right. So at bauma, India is actually the infrastructure sector
Yes.
is really growing very strong in India, and government is driving the infrastructure sector in India. For example, the number of airports, our airports have almost doubled. Almost about 8 years back, we had 74 airports. Now we have 152 airports. Until 2030, the government is talking about 300 airports.
Wow. So it's going to double
huge.
again in the next 5
the
years.
numbers are increasing huge.
Yeah.
So I think that in that respect, such shows actually are again help the people also to see what is the technology on offer.
Yeah.
And as VDMA, we are very happy to be part of this show
Yeah.
and trying to help bring both the industries among the two countries actually closer together.
Right.
In a way, it's our contribution towards the bilateral trade between India and Germany.
Right. So if you had a crystal ball in front of you, and I'm
Right.
sure you do, given the amount of work you do in the industry,
Right.
what do you see as the biggest opportunity and the biggest threat?
Absolutely. I think opportunities, there are huge opportunities presently in India.
Yeah.
The government spending, the growth that India needs, we need a growth of almost about 7% year on year. The government has a larger vision of becoming a $5 trillion economy.
Yeah.
And that's where I think all the government policies are aligned. Now, I think the biggest threat is that since we have a very young population, the people need also jobs. And I
Right.
think it's an evolution. It's not any type of job that you need. The younger population wants jobs that give them more value, give them more satisfaction. And for such a large population, it's not easy to create. And that's where I think manufacturing can play a big role. The service sector is already contributing almost 56, 57%
Right.
to our GDP. And now I think is a huge opportunity for the manufacturing sector to contribute to the GDP, create new jobs in India, and create jobs that people will feel satisfied with also.
But towards that, is there, from your experience, is there a skills gap or an educational gap that exists in the
Right.
Indian ecosystem
Right.
between people who come out of engineering colleges, for example,
Right.
and then when they enter the real world of being in an engineering company?
Right.
Is that a gap that's been difficult to bridge?
Very relevant question, Rahul. In fact, there is a huge gap because our whole education system is very theory oriented.
Right.
The practical part is missing. So there was a study done, I think, a few years ago where they said from the graduates coming from the college, hardly 18% are employable. So I have strongly felt it's not the unemployment problem in India, it's the employability problem that is
Right.
there in India.
Right.
So each of the companies actually need to spend resources on training these graduates. And here I think, at least from the German perspective, I can see our companies are really putting a lot of emphasis, focus on training the new recruits that they get. They run internship programs also, and in fact, they absorb a part of these interns and the remaining can be utilized by the industry also.
Right.
But this gap is huge, and I'm happy that the government is addressing it. We have Skill India program. Also, there are other state governments are having various programs. But India really needs to upskill itself because the manufacturing process will become more and more complex as we go ahead.
Exactly, because it's not just skills. It's a question of
Absolutely.
there's AI, there's automation, there's robotics, there's so much more going on.
Right.
And people need to, as you said, get out of the theory based and go into practical based.
Right.
Yeah.
Right.
So final question.
Right.
If you were if you had the ability to change one thing
Right.
within the industrial ecosystem that you operate in, what would that be?
I think I'll come back to your last question. Skill.
Right.
We really need to develop the skill because unless you have skilled people to run the machines, the output would also be accordingly.
Right.
You may have the best of machines, but without trained manpower, you can't really get the output. But if you have skilled people, they can deliver much more.
Right.
Even I would say a machine which is not of a very high quality, but with their skill sets, they can really help to improve the product. So I think coming back, skill.
So just to follow up on that, does the VDMA get involved in developing programs to for skills and expertise and stuff like that? And,
so we ran a very interesting program, Rahul, which was on the facility management. In fact, we had taken people from the lower strata of society and together with, say, GMR Foundation and various other foundations, we had run a facility management. And this really helped because that's again an industry where the skill sets especially if, say, these were typically for road cleaning machines or airport cleaning machines, where the skill set was very low. So this really helped in that. And of course, we are interacting very closely with our companies also, helping them wherever needed. In fact, in one case, we also got a cluster approach where this German company could tie up with a few of the Indian companies. And in that area, actually, it helped in the development of skill, not only for the German company, but also for the whole ecosystem, the Indian companies also in that.